Hello and welcome back to Japan Game Junk. And this is a recording of my visit on August the 11th to not only the newest hard off in Japan at the time of recording, in fact, opening the day that I visited it, but I believe even at the time of this time of recording, I'm at the time that I actually went there. It was the newest, but I believe as time of recording here, even a bit after that, it's still the newest hard off in Japan. Not to say it's the best, it's not the best, but it's kind of interesting in that it is inside a small, I was like a home center. They're called. Think about what if you had if you're in the U.S., maybe a Home Depot or a Lowe's or something, and whatever your equivalent might be anywhere in the world, and that's on the first floor, and on the second floor you have a grocery store and you have a hard off and you have an arcade. Like a game center and stuff. It's a kind of a weird setup, but the home center is the Konan Home Center, and this is the Konan Keiba Funabashi Home Center. That store in Funabashi city of Chiba. It's actually very near the Lalaport Funabashi, Bay, Tokyo Bay shopping center, if you know that one. Anyway, I did get there on the day it was opened up, and so here's some things that were found. I'm not sure if these would be still there when you go back, but if you're interested, here you go. So first, a game that's actually incredibly rare, Download 2 for the PC Engine CD. The original Download is rare enough. The 2 is much more so, and this was 10,000 yen, which actually for me, disc only, by the way. It's still, that's, if I wanted to buy it, I would think that's a fair price, actually. Then there was Sky Jaguar boxed for 5,000 yen, at this store. And it kind of made me think, still Surugaya better than hard off, because a boxed version of this in, Surugaya in Konosu city of Saitama was 1,500 yen instead of 5,000. So more than 3 times the price here in this store. Boxed, you could get the Nejikon. Sometimes called the Negcon, but Nejikon controller. The Namco controller for PS1, where you would kind of twist it around to control things. I don't know if I showed that off on the channel before, but I do have one. It's the black version, and it is in the box, but 5,000 yen. I just realized now, not Negcon, but Nejikon, and Neji is screw in Japanese, so you control it by screwing the controller back and forth. It's kind of weird. A game that I was tempted to buy, because I don't have it with the box, but the Nichibutsu Arcade Classics. These really old arcade games by Nichibutsu, one of the very first arcade game manufacturers in Japan. Their most famous game, which is included on this cartridge, is a Crazy Climber. You probably know that one. But nice condition in box, 3,000 yen. Tempted, but did not get it on this date. Very interesting game. It's Child's Quest. Lasaru Ishii's Child's Quest. A really weird adventure game. Boxed for the Famicom, only 1,000 yen. If I didn't own this, I would have bought it, because it's a wacky box, and it's a weird, wacky game. They had a V Saturn, including the controller, for 20,000 yen. Again, 10 times as much as I paid for mine, but still a fair price these days. Neo Geo Pocket, not color, which is a bit rarer actually, but they still play all the games. This one was 7,000 yen, which is kind of interesting, as my last episode, when I was at a store that's become much more expensive than most, had a boxed one for 1,000 yen less, so there you go. The Dreamcast Racing Wheel, which is cheap everywhere because it's huge and takes up inventory space, boxed 2,000 yen. If you want a Dreamcast Racing Wheel, then you can get one here. Get one in most stores for about the same price. For 2,500 yen, there was from Epoch, which is an old games maker in Japan, TV Terebi Block. So it's basically an Arkanoid or breakout game that directly hooks up to your TV And yeah, it's just a very simple plug. Like I'm sure you know about Pong consoles if you know about games. The game systems that just played versions of Pong you hooked up to the TV. It's like that, but just breakout instead. Next up, I found was a TV graph, a weird little graphic like drawing thing for your TV. That was 1,000 yen, but it was busted up, not working, unfortunately. But one thing I was very surprised to see was the interface unit CD-ROM um, in the PC Engine, including controllers, including the AC adapter, including everything. But it still said untested. They have not checked if it works. Now I would think that if you had one that works completely, you would put it at the a little bit more of a price there and put it up there. But for 20,000 yen, you got to take a gamble, and it's junk, so you cannot return it. I have a feeling this does not work, and they did not want to say it does not work, so they just said they did not test it yet, which does not make sense. But yeah, that would be a bit of a waste if you were to buy that. Before I mentioned the Dreamcast wheel, they also have the Saturn wheel right beside it for 1,000 yen, super cheap, and it's boxed. That's a fair price if it's boxed. If it's not boxed, I've seen them for 500. They also had a Dreamcast completely working. It says, however, that when it reads discs, it's super loud. So it looks like it might be on its last legs. So it's being sold off for 3,000 yen. Not too bad if you just want one that you can mod or whatever. They also had tons and tons and tons of GameCube games in the box. All those seeing better days, kind of rough around the edges boxes, for 100 yen each, including stuff like Donkey Konga, as you might expect, the cheap ones, Naruto games, the Mario Party games, Naruto baseball games, and other sports games and stuff, but still quite a few there, more than most places might have. They had this game called Metal Fangs for Mega Drive, Genesis, and I've never seen it before, but it's got this dude on the front who's got like this weird set of goggles that are plugged into a bunch of stuff, and it's like he's freaking out like he's getting killed or something. I don't know. It's kind of a weird looking game. Look up Metal Fangs. That was 3,000 yen. Then the Atari game Pac-Man. Very famous, very typical Pac-Man. Maybe you find it for a buck at any garage sale in the United States, but here in Japan at this hard off, 2,000 yen with the label looking really horrible. Pac-Man. One thing that was a great deal though was R-Type 1 for the PC Engine, just the card only, for 1,000 yen. Super cheap. Then they had for the Atari 7800. Yes. 7800. In Japan somehow. Centipede. I think that came out for the 7800. Anyway. Or maybe that's the 2800, the Japanese 2600. You know what? I think that's actually the 2800. I'm confused because it said 1986 copyright. And that's really late for the Atari, but Centipede, but maybe in Japan it came out later, I don't know. So let's assume it is actually 2800, the Japanese version of the 2600, and it is 2,000 yen for Centipede. For 5,000 yen, you can get the, Segata Sanjiro, what's this, like this fighting game, I believe. But yeah, it's the Sega Saturn commercial, the mascot dude. It's his own collection of mini games. So that's 5,000 yen. Yeah, plenty of other stuff was there. I'm just looking through now to see if anything else is of interest. Oh, let's see. Killing Time for 3DO, 10,000 yen. If it's a good condition, that might be a little bit more expensive than usual, but not too far off, but surprised to see it. They did have a Game Boy Color for 80,000 yen. This was a Justco limited edition. Now, if you're not aware, one of the biggest chains in Japan is Aeon. It's a huge shopping mall chain. They have stores and malls all over the place. They own a bunch of different other outlets. It used to be, though, known as Justco as their shopping centers. And Jusko was made famous in the movie Shimotsuma Monogatari, so the story of Shimotsuma, about like a motorcycle gang girl who befriends like a Lolita gothic dress weird subculture girl, and you know the one who's all into the Lolita fashion is so crazed by the people who go shopping at Just Go because everything's so cheap there, and it's like bad style, right? So anyway, Just Go, that shopping center at the time when the Game Boy Color was sold, had its own special version with special Mario things on the screen, like on the border there, Mario caricatures. So that was 80,000 yen. For 6,000 yen, it's a weird like LCD talking pinball game. I don't know. It's weird. And yeah, I think that's everything looking at the pictures now, things that were of interest. One more thing to note is that, as I've said before in various places on my YouTube channel, I do go in and take pictures. I do not take videos. That's incredibly rude in Japan. Please do not do that unless you have permission of everyone possible. But I do take pictures only in stores where it says that photography is okay. It's getting really, really bad in Japan with people who are just not understanding the etiquette and really being annoying, getting in people's way to take pictures when you don't plan on buying things. You're just like, oh, look, it's this thing you can't find outside Japan. Isn't it crazy? I'm live streaming. Or I'll put this on my YouTube channel or whatever. I try to be much more courteous whenever I go out and try to document what I find. And as you can see, if you watch my multiple award-winning millions of subscribers YouTube channel, I, of course, only take videos of things when I'm the only one in there, or when no one can be taken a video of other than myself, or it's just in the privacy of my own home. Please don't be one of those people who's a jerk in Japan. Anyway, thank you so much for your listening, and I hope you're having a wonderful day. With that, I will bid you adieu. Thanks once again.